Are live. Welcome everyone. My name is Niki Lopez of Niki Lopez Creative, and you're watching The Circle, where every Tuesday, we're starting the first and the third Tuesday of the month. I'll be talking to artists, activists, social entrepreneurs, people doing great things in the world today. And today I have a very special guest and family member. We have Lisa Loving, LMHC PA. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. Hi, everyone.
Yes. And so let's see, we're live in a couple of places. So we're live in the group, The Circle. And remember, if you're in the Facebook group, The Circle, and you comment, I cannot see your name, so you got to type it in. But we're live on Niki Lopez Creative. We're live on YouTube and Periscope. And then, by the end of the week, this will be on the podcast. So you can go back and check it out and have a listen and do all those nice things. So just diving in. So Lisa Loving is a licensed mental health counselor, a life coach, and author of The Woman's Code. She has a telecounseling practice here in Florida called Loving Therapy and has been counseling since 2015. She has a bachelor's and master's of science in clinical psychology. Yes. So that is a lot. And we have another family member, Carlene, saying hello, ladies. Hello.
Hello.
So as we're, getting online, let's just dive in. What sparked your passion or your journey into mental health?
Well, Niki, we have loved ones who struggle with mental health and, mental illness. And so as I saw them struggling, I wanted to be part of the solution as opposed to just standing by and watching them struggle. It's not enough people that educate themselves to help things get better.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And it's interesting because it's always interesting when some people go that route where they see a challenge in their family and they say, okay, well, what can I do about it? So that's always a really personal, thing. Like I have to be, I got to show up for myself in the community, but my family is what's pushing me. So absolutely. We've taken a couple. We have Cara Gardner. Hello, family. Hello. And then we have someone on Periscope. Hello from San Diego. Thanks for joining us, DJ Blitz One. So we have Periscope that's connected with Twitter. Periscope is going away, but the old circles will be up there. How do you address like challenges and stigmas within the Black communities or communities of color with mental health? Because that's like a huge deal. And then you're like a Black person doing mental health.
Yes. I haven't really come across it too often because a lot of my clients come from word of mouth. But when I do come across it, I remind people all the time that therapy is not just for people with mental illness. Therapy doesn't mean that you're crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It just means you have someone that you can build a trusting relationship with, that you can tell anything to, someone that can help give you guidance in life stresses, someone just to unleash on, and everybody needs that.
Mm-hmm.
And so usually by the time they hear that, they give it a try.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time they sit in front of me, they're like, this isn't like anything like what I thought it was.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that you made that distinction about there's some people that's so opposed to anything that's dealing with psychology and mental health because they feel like, oh, I'm not crazy, I don't need that. And whether you've gone through one trauma, multiple traumas, or no traumas at all, it's just a really good thing. We all have friends group, family. Some people have places of worship. But, for me, I find like a counselor is a therapist is someone who's just neutral. There's no, like they don't know you. They're not like, like, oh, I'm listening to you, but I have a judgment about you. They're just like purely,
Exactly.
mhm,
Exactly. There's no judgment. There's no, you know, no type of stereotyping. No, it's a safe place is what it's supposed to be. A very safe place, to just be yourself.
mhm,
And then what I also try to do, because the black community, the community of people of color, everyone's struggling, and so my fees are actually a lot lower than most therapists.
mm,
I have a standard rate, but I work with people kind
mhm.
of on a sliding scale, and I really try and work with people. And so my clients appreciate that, and they refer people to me because of that.
Mm, okay. I see. Maya G, I thought that was a dated way of thinking. Yeah, a lot of people do. Like, oh, I don't have a problem. I don't yet need it. So I'm glad that more and more people are opening their mind to mental health and to talk, normalizing it. And especially in community of color. I think everyone could benefit from it, but it's just like, how do you break that stigma? How do you get, like I was talking to somebody one day and I said something about a psychology assessment for a child, and they were just like, "Oh, no, 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 no psychology with the child." It's like, but you could have an opportunity to get a deeper level of understanding about this child, and
Yeah,
there's a lot of opposition.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I'm excited that I'm able to help in the community of color, people of color, because I
Mm-hmm.
have one client who said to me, walked in my office at one point and saw a Caucasian client leaving. He said, "Wait, I thought you were just for us black people. You're just like."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Absolutely. We have Sylvia. Hello, Nikki and Guess. Hello, Sylvia. Valerie. Happy Women's Month, ladies. Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
Happy Women's History, Women's Month. I support mental health on another level. Well, sure. Like, share, Maya, whatever level that you support it. That's I feel all directions is only leading up. Valerie, it's so good to know there are providers like yourself out there for people in need. The money doesn't always allow for us to seek the help we need. Absolutely. I was just going to
Exactly.
say that, like, it's nice that you're able to give something that is, makes it more accessible.
Yeah,
Mhm,
yeah. Because most therapists charge anywhere 150 an hour.
mhm,
Um, I go as low as 40 an hour, depending on income and so forth, and depending on the need. It allows the college students, young people, as well as, people struggling to
mhm.
really be able to afford it.
Absolutely. And we have someone on YouTube, Winsome. Hello, Nikki and Lisa. Thanks for joining
Hi.
us. Um, what are some of the challenges? Because, like, right now, I know, we've been pretty much on a lockdown or now partial lockdown. It's been
Mhm.
a year. What are some of the challenges that are impacting mental health because of this global crisis, the pandemic, and just the overall unrest?
Um, the number one challenge that I have come across is that a lot of people with mental health issues tend to have some issues with their self esteem and self confidence. And because of the pandemic, we're having to do things virtually. And it's so interesting because most people don't mind coming into the office and sitting and letting you see them face to face.
Hmm.
But then to do a virtual session, you wouldn't believe how many people are too shy or uncomfortable with showing their face on camera.
Mm.
And it becomes a hindrance to the whole process. Some people say, well, can we just do a regular phone call? But the thing is, the board doesn't allow for us to just do a regular phone call. Body language is so important that we have to do at least the first session as a virtual session,
Mm-hmm.
and I remind them, when this pandemic started, I was nervous about it too, but I had to get used to it. And
Mm-hmm.
then if you really want to heal and self-esteem is part of your issue, then you might as well challenge yourself and start somewhere by being on the virtual session.
Mm-hmm.
But that seems to be the main hindrance. Just people
Absolutely.
don't want to do the virtual sessions.
I thought that that would make it easier for people to do.
I thought so too.
Yeah.
So many people say, no, I want to come in the office. Some say it's my getaway,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it does make it more difficult, especially because sometimes they have to do it from home and their family members are home. And
Yeah.
so it's not as private as they would like it to be.
Absolutely. And that's something I'm glad that you touched on because, that's one of the things that I kind of centered my last exhibition last year about about sheltering at home, safer at home. Everybody feels like, home is a safe place, but for people who have
Yeah,
challenges, whether it's mental health, whether it's something that they're dealing with, I mean, some people are home with abusers, and they don't have that resource to go there, or maybe they might be open to mental health but their family or their support system isn't, so they don't get that, they get shamed or teased and don't have that. So I could see where that could play a part, where like, no, I need to come to you, I need to leave
right.
here and go there. Hmm.
Right. Even with children, the parents that come counseling, for them it's kind of their hour away from home to get away from the family,
Hmm.
and they can't do that. Their children are in the camera. Their children are saying, "Mommy, get off the phone, stop talking," and it's still a challenge for them.
Hmm. Hmm. I have Dion Jefferson in the circle. He says, I love to have her at our art ball. She's phenomenal. We do have a question. Yeah, Dion, I'll give you her information and, see what's possible.
Thank
Um,
you.
how does your coaching method differ from therapy sessions, and when would one be applicable over the other? Good question.
There's not a whole lot of difference.
Hmm.
It's really hard to kind of not cross the lines, but the life coaching allows me to help people that are outside of Florida because I'm only licensed in the state of Florida. But if I'm only providing life coaching to someone and say they need mental health services, then I would have to, if they're not in the state of Florida, I would have to refer them to get mental health from someone in their state. Life coaching is more about guidance in some of just life's regular stressors, maybe career guidance, your just guidance on your journey in your life and getting to know yourself,
Hmm. Hmm.
you
Absolutely.
know.
We have Kay Williams. Highly recommend this
I
time.
Williams.
Kai Williams. Okay. Um, highly recommended. Thank you. That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. How can someone like check in or hold space for others? Like, let's say, there's some of us who may be more open to like mental health counseling, therapy, life coaching, all those things. But we see someone that is our friend, our family, our lover, our partners, someone that we know in the neighborhood that we see that they're showing signs um, that they could probably benefit from something like that. Do you have any recommendations of what's a good way to kind of approach that subject, or see where they feel, see if they'd be open to that?
Um, I would say that it's important to definitely be willing to listen. Definitely be willing to just listen. Sometimes we're all so caught up in our own lives that we're protecting our space, we're protecting our peace. We don't want to get caught up in someone else's drama. And I
Mm,
think the first step is to be willing to share your space sometimes, because helping someone else actually brings joy to your life. And so, if you can first listen, offer that shoulder to cry on if need be, and then just make the suggestion, maybe think and say, maybe you should think about seeing someone, talking to someone, a therapist or a psychologist, and expressing that it doesn't mean that you're crazy. It just means that you just need someone who's neutral to
mm-hmm,
talk to.
mm-hmm. Okay, I think I was going to ask you about the coach, but then you kind of explained that. For your business, the the business that you have, what can you tell us, like what exactly it is, and what are the services that it provides?
Well, loving therapy is my own practice.
Mm-hmm,
Okay. It is a mental health practice, but I also offer life coach services. Um, in particularly for the mental health sessions, I offer individual sessions, from ages to anyone age, preferably age 14 and up.
mm-hmm,
But I do have clients who are as young as 11 years old.
mm,
Um, and I offer family sessions. When it comes to children, family sessions is a must. Um, I also offer couples and marriage counseling as well. You know, um, my specialty is trauma,
mm.
and particularly for women. So, and as far as the fees, they differ based on the different type of session you're going to have.
Mm-hmm.
You know, life coach, like I said earlier, is just basically helping guide you through your journey of life and what you need, what decisions you can make that benefit you as a person.
Okay. And then also, I did run it on the ticker, but if you're on YouTube or Facebook, I did put in the comment section the links for Loving Therapy and Lisa's Instagram, so you can connect with her there. And let me see, we have a couple of questions. We have comments. Joanna Green, you go girl, I love you. Message from your son.
Thank
You're
you.
doing great. We're so proud of you. Sylvia, this is a well needed subject. My son suffered from bipolar depression as a young man. Wow.
Wow, that's difficult.
Hmm. And how, well, and then I guess the flip side of that, right? Because, Sylvia made a great point. Like her son was going through, has a mental disorder. What are
Mhm.
some things for the family members or close ones who are dealing with someone that may have bipolar, depression, different things like that? What are some things that they could do to help and to like also support themselves through it?
I recommend therapy as well.
Mm,
Therapy is for everyone, in my opinion,
mm-hmm,
including therapists. So to have someone in your family, especially close, immediate family, who has a mental health disorder, can be really stressful and draining on the family. And it's important for them to be able to seek help for themselves and get education on the illness,
mm-hmm,
which is part of therapy, being educated on the illness so that you know how to properly help the person cope.
mm-hmm. That's it. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, thank you for that. And Grace, yeah, that's a good question. Why is gratitude important for mental health? Because that does come up.
Gratitude,
Mm-hmm,
yeah, gratitude is very important for mental health, because mental health, it triggers negative thinking.
mm-hmm,
And negative thinking just gets you in a state of feeling, just thinking about the things that you don't have. And if you can be grateful for the things that you do have, even just opening your eyes in the morning, it tends to put a positive spin on your thought process.
Okay. Yeah, I do see that, and I'm glad that she asked that question because I used to get annoyed with those things, and then sometimes as I'm growing in my understanding of self and just things, it's just like, oh, that helps with that mind shift, and kind of like
Mhm.
all these bad things, yes, but there are some good things. So it kind of distracts your mind from that, but it also, you start to grow on that. I did have a counselor one time advise, like, write a list of things that you're grateful for, a list of things that
Mhm.
you've accomplished, because sometimes we get so caught up in, whatever we got going on in our head, that we don't give any time and space for, the things that are
Exactly.
going right. And there's always something going right, so.
Exactly. And it's also important to be grateful for yourself. People don't do that enough, you know. You're right. We have our own accomplishments, and you have to be able to congratulate yourself on your accomplishments and be grateful for your own positive strengths and characteristics that you have.
Hmm. Absolutely. What are some like either tips or tools or resources that people can, that you could share with somebody that might, may be dealing with stress or anxiety, or, like, maybe they don't have a counselor right now, but they have things that they're going through. Can you share something with us?
Sure. I would say that, you know, stress and anxiety, especially anxiety, comes up it comes about because it's triggered by the fear of the unknown. It's triggered by a lack of control. Okay. So I
Mhm.
would say, in addition to coping skills like breathing techniques, mindfulness, meditation, positive affirmations, it's important to recognize what's within your control from what's not within your control. And the things that's not within your control, you have to be willing to relinquish that. You have to let it go because you have no control over it. And the things that is within your control, you figure out, what can I do? What's in my power to do something about this?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
it tends to reduce the anxiety,
Mhm.
you
Yeah,
know?
I've been working on the breathing part at so
Mhm.
many levels. And every time I turn around to some other group, let's go to the breath. I'm like, here we go. You
And
can't escape it.
some people think, okay, breathing is just normal breathing, but to reduce anxiety, it is a specific technique, and you have to think of your nostrils as the entrance point and your mouth as the exit point.
Hmm.
People think, I inhale through my nostrils and I can exhale through my nostrils. It doesn't work, because what you're doing is almost like you're taking in the toxins, and then if you don't blow it out of your mouth, you're leaving it inside.
Hmm.
And so you have to inhale and then blow it out, and you feel so much better.
Hmm. Hmm. Absolutely. We have Damon Jones saying, "Hey, Lisa, Nikki, great live." He also has a background. He was with Afro Pride a couple weeks ago. We talked to him. He has a background in
Great,
mental health as well. So,
great.
yeah. Do you have any like mental health practice, self-care practice that you do for yourself?
Um, I talk.
Ah.
I talk. Um, I do have my own therapist. I don't go as much as I should, um, but I would say that's because this is my passion. And whatever I have going on in my life, when I sit down in front of my clients, it goes away, It's
Mm,
gone. Whether it's physical pain or emotional pain, the minute I sit in front of a client, it's gone.
mm,
And so it's just as healing for me as it is for my clients. But
mhm.
but yes, I talk. I do practice the breathing techniques. and I try my best not to hold things in, you know.
I failed at that one. Just be, I'm getting better with the breathing, the holding it in. Yeah, I'm a work in progress. So, we have a question from Damon Jones. What mentally healthy and positive social outlets would you recommend?
um I would definitely say that is an individual preference, because what works for one person may not work for someone else.
Mm-hmm,
Exercise is always a great way to increase your mental health, but it depends on the type of exercise that you enjoy doing. If you don't enjoy it, you're only stressing yourself.
mm-hmm,
Some people may enjoy dancing. It's a beautiful thing. Some people may enjoy just watching something funny on television once every day, because laughter is a great form of medicine.
mm-hmm,
You know, there is, you have to kind of find what makes you happy. For
mm-hmm,
some people, it's getting their nails done. I have clients who just, they're getting their nails done every week is their way of calming themselves,
mm-hmm,
and so it's about how you as an individual feel better,
mm-hmm.
as long as it's positive, of course, not negative coping skill.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I would share, what has worked for me. I think I've shared with you, I've been, a lot of people that I've been learning to swim with diversity in aquatics. And, even though the pools and everything is closed, a lot of them, because there's not, it doesn't increase your risk to be at a pool or the beach in nature, especially getting that vitamin D, which,
Right.
one of the things that they do realize with people with COVID, a lot of them have vitamin D deficiency. So one of the things that is a part of my weekly practice, a few of us meet at the beach and we do breathing and we do grounding and we do
Mm,
mindful walking, and we explore like yoga. Last weekend we did Kundalini yoga, and being by that, and do some meditation. And so that's something that is just like, it's been helping me and healing me, and it's just like that
yes.
calming. So and being in nature, so you get the nature, people still able to socially distance. There's a couple people who feel like, even though I'm socially distanced, I want to be in a mask, and that's okay. But then you have the water, which is all, there's a lot of healing properties at the water.
Mhm.
So that's something that I've done, Damon. If you're ever interested, I could always share that info with you. But we're in South Florida with all these beaches, and then there's the pools. So and for years I didn't even go to the beach. Like, I was like a Floridian, like, oh, I'm here, everybody's traveling to my beach, but I won't get up and drive 20 minutes to it.
Mhm.
But now it's just like, at least, once a week, sometimes even more, that I'm going to a body of water. And,
Right.
mhm.
And I need to get that information from you, whoever's teaching you, because yes, when it comes to anxiety and swimming,
Mhm. That's
my husband says, you're Jamaican, how you don't know how to swim? I'm like,
it. Yeah.
anxiety.
Yeah, well, this group, I'm actually learning from two people, but the diversity in aquatic is, one of the focus is, breaking that stigma of Black people don't swim, and teaching about the historical connection between us and the water.
And the
But it
water.
also
Hmm.
is through mindfulness. So there's a attention to people with anxieties and traumas, whether it's in or out the water, and how to relax the nervous system. Because,
Right.
like, literally 2 years ago, I was holding Tara's hand, and I'm having a panic attack in a lazy river.
Mm.
That was me. you know so I mean, I'm not fully free and clear, but from where I was, and I never thought that I would even imagine me learning to
Yeah.
swim, but just that connection to the water. Because even when we did the Zoom, we were doing Zoom for like 9 Saturdays, and we connected with breath, and it was centered around water, even though we wasn't physically at the water. and checking in and stuff like that. I mean, it makes for a longer meeting, but it's just that extra layer. Um,
Right.
so,
Okay.
and we got some questions. We're going a little bit over, so hopefully, you're okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have Cara. Have you considered offering a life coaching program for our brothers and sisters that are recently incarcerated and trying to adjust to normal society again? A lot of them have a really hard time adjusting. Yeah.
Um, I have not considered that.
Hmm.
It's not something I'm opposed to. Uh, it is something that I think can be challenging, though, because, in particularly for our brothers out there.
Hmm.
Men are very difficult to get to open up and confide in someone. Once I get them in and then they're all good. But to
Hmm.
get them to actually be willing can be difficult. But
Hmm.
it's not something I'm opposed to.
Hmm. Yeah, that's definitely um, would be a really great thing if you're able to, or that we need more services like that.
Right.
Absolutely. We have Joanna Green. Mommy, I really appreciate this. I sent a donation on Cash App for all your passionate dreams. That's what I'm talking about.
Thank you.
uh, and we have Stephen from Outclick Magazine. Thank you, Nikki. Absolutely. You're welcome. Absolutely. So, I think that's all the question. Okay, so yeah, so you do the mental health, but you're also an author. I don't know if this is your first book, but talk to us a
It
little bit
is.
about. Oh, okay, so well, congrats on, your intro to being an author, and that's awesome, amazing. So you
Yeah.
wrote a book, Woman's Code. What is it about,
Yeah.
and what made you write the book?
This is it. I don't know if you can see it.
Yes.
Yeah. Um, I don't even remember exactly what inspired me to write the book. I just know one day I was at a previous job of mine and told a coworker, I'm gonna write a book one day called The Woman's Code, and that was probably 3 years ago. And it took me about a year to write the book. It's to empower women, um, to teach women to embrace what it means to be a woman. Um, Women are so powerful, and a lot of times we don't even realize it. We embody so many different characteristics, um, from being warm to being cold, from being loving to being just, yeah, watch out, where all of it rolled up into one.
Mm-hmm.
And we're powerful. And so it's about teaching women how to embrace that, because society makes us, almost puts us to shame about a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we struggle trying to figure out what we're supposed to be, how we're supposed to be, what's going to make us accepted by men and society and whoever else. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's to empower women and teach them how to love themselves, love each other. It's about sisterhood, because society kind of pits us against each other, makes us compete against each other for jobs, men, different reasons, and that's not how it should be. And it also teaches men. I have a few male clients who's read the book, and male friends, and they love it. It talks about what a man looks like and what a woman looks like. It also talks about trauma, how to cope with that, just different life experience. Someone mentioned that the book itself is a type of book that you should read for life, because although it's a short book, you're done reading it, and then something happens that make you have to go back into the book again, and it helps and it gives you guidance.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Awesome. I see Valerie putting up the fist signs. Absolutely. Well, kudos to you for writing it too, because, that is even just such a commendable effort. A lot of times we have things in our head that we want to do and we don't get to it, and it's just
Right.
like, we're doing ourselves a disservice, we're doing the world a disservice, because if chances are, if you're thinking about it, there's a group of people that want to read it and need it, and
Mhm.
there's all sorts of people in the world. So, there's going to be people that may not relate to it, and there's going to be people that feel like
Right.
this is it, and just inspire someone else who might say, well, I was, wait, 3 years, I could do that. I've been thinking about my book for 5 years, so I think it's amazing that you did that. And where can we get that? Is it something that could get on your
It's
website?
on it's on my website.
Okay.
It's which is lovingtherapy.org. It's also on Amazon. Um I believe it's available through Kindle.
Mm-hmm.
It's available on the publisher's website, which is writersrepublic.com. Um and it's available in barnesandnobles.com.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Awesome. And we have Oddly Gardner. Interesting. Love this. Yes, yes.
That's my father.
Oh, wow. Hey, Dad. Thanks for joining us. So, with Valerie, you've always been consistently doing things to heal. Absolutely. It's definitely a journey, and sometimes you think you heal one part and you're like, oh, I'm good there. And then something happens and you're like,
Yep,
oh, that was just a couple of
exactly.
layers. There's more. so,
Exactly. Hmm.
so absolutely. There's definitely a journey. Recently, because I have anxiety, I have PTSD, I have anxiety, I have depression. Um, you know, I haven't checked to see where those things are at, but it's just something that I've dealt with for many years. And my
Hmm.
therapist now, I counselor now, she said, have you ever sat and taken on the fact that, there's a possibility that your anxiety will never, ever leave? I was like, oh.
That's the reaction that most people have.
Yeah, and so it was, I mean, my heart sunk, but I can understand where, why it was important to say, because
Mhm.
part of my thing is I want to get rid of it. Like I want it to go, I want it to disappear, I want it to get another address that's not me. Because I feel that healing means I don't have those things at all. I'm just free and clear to fly around, but the reality is that, yeah, you may heal from it, but part of that is learning how to cope with those things when they come up, and how they don't have to derail you, or how you could know, like, okay, this is that negative self-talk. This is a trigger. Okay, what are my triggers? Okay, if these are the triggers, here's my coping skills for those triggers.
Mhm.
And,
If it
sometimes,
helps, if it helps,
yeah.
healing from it means embracing it and not fighting it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's what healing from it means.
Mm-hmm.
It's no longer your enemy or something you have to fear. You
Mm-hmm.
know how to cope with it, you know how to manage it,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't send you into a whirlwind when it shows its ugly face. you
Yep.
know?
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely. Valerie's saying, same here, me too. Depression, PTSD. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes, I mean, I remember like going to this counseling group and we learned lots of coping skills. But what would happen is that when I'm in that crisis moment,
You
all
don't
of that,
remember them.
I don't remember any of them, so
Right.
that was a frustration. But yeah, dealing with that, like, okay, what to do when it happens, where it doesn't derail you. But yeah, when she told me that, I was just like, oh man, there was some relief in that. I did, but I wasn't ready to address the relief in it. I was just like, no, this can't be. I was like, what am I doing all this work for?
Hmm.
Yeah,
You're not alone. A lot of people have that reaction.
absolutely, absolutely. If you had access, oh, I see. Oh, your dad again. Positive.
Oh, that's my stepmom. She's
Oh, okay, okay,
yes, yes, positive for sure.
positive. Yes. If you had access to a time machine, where would you go and why? Past or future?
I would go into the future. Um, and I would say it's because the older I get, the more I'm able to gain my peace and maintain my peace, even in the midst of the storm. I have my moments. Yes, the storm is like roaring sometimes, but I do my best to make sure that it's not interfering with my peace to the point of me feeling like I'm broken. And the future represents that complete place of stable peace for me.
Mm,
It represents just accomplishing all my goals and being completely at peace.
mm, that's awesome. Okay. Okay. Let me check. So yeah, Lisa, I mean, we've been talking about this for a little while, so I'm just really excited to finally get the opportunity to sit down and share what you do with the my
Yeah,
audience. People get this, um, and just in time for Women's History Month, so that's also an added bonus.
exactly. Exactly. More
Yeah,
like women's history year, because
yeah,
this is our year for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, so I'm really grateful that you were able to come on and share what you're doing. I'm so glad that you're doing this type of work because it's so needed on so many levels, and especially, the fact I didn't even know that you're like, oh, okay, I could do, sliding scale for make it more accessible for people. And so that's an amazing thing because a lot of people, even if you do get them to the point, they're like, well, I don't have insurance or I can't afford it. So that's really good that you're able to offer that to people.
Hmm.
Um,
Definitely. And I appreciate you having me.
yes, absolutely, absolutely. Sylvia, thank you for this show. Very well needed. Absolutely, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I put Lisa's website. I'm just going to run the banner again, lovingtherapy.org. She does counseling, mental health counseling, life coach. She has a book, women's code. You could do that. What are some other services that you have?
The individual counseling, for children and adults, the couples therapy, marriage counseling, family therapy, um, so yes, even career counseling.
Awesome, awesome. So definitely look that up and support, Lisa work, the book. Let's see, we have Gail, 100% hearts. So thank you for everyone who's live here with us. We're on a few different places. Thank you for those who's going to watch this on the replay, whether it's on Facebook, on YouTube,
Yes.
on the podcast. Thank you all. Please consider sharing this episode. We talked about mental health, the importance of mental health. We talked about some coping skills. We talked about just
Mhm.
creating space for people in need and for ourselves. We talked about a lot of things. We talked about the Woman Code book that Lisa wrote, and it is available for sale on her website and Amazon and a couple other places. So definitely please consider sharing. Even if you're not in a position to get mental health or to buy the book, you could share it because somebody else may be in that position to do so. So
Absolutely.
yes, absolutely. And so, the circle, since 2018, I've been doing every Tuesday. I'm going to start because I have a whole lot of projects. Some of you who follow me see the work that I'm doing. We have a lot of things going on. So I'm going to be shifting and trying it out, but we're going to be shifting to the first and the third Tuesday of the month. So definitely join me back here. What I probably will, throw out a rerun on the other Tuesdays just to kind of keep everybody connected. The Circle is brought to you by Niki Lopez Creative and What's Your Elephant. What's Your Elephant is a movement that uses the arts to create a safe space to talk about everything unspoken. And if you want to find out more about my work, the project, the movements that I'm doing, you can go to what'syourelephant.org. You could also go to Linktree /Niki Lopez 19. So that's it for me. Do you have any final words?
Just thank you everyone for the support and for
Yeah.
coming out. I really appreciate it, Nikki. It was wonderful.
Yes, yes, yes. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm happy to have you on
Yeah.
here. So, and
Yeah.
good luck with the book, and everything that you're doing. So, we'll catch you
Thank you.
catch up soon.
Thank you. Same to you. Keep up what you're doing.
Thank you. I will. All right, guys,
All
and that's
right.
it for tonight. We'll see you in a couple weeks. Peace.
Good night.
Bye.